Welcome into 13 News. So this afternoon, testimony continues in the Delphi murders trial. The court is now adjourned for lunch. And this morning, the crime scene investigator from the Indiana State Police took the stand to explain what was collected, including girls' clothing that were found in nearby Deer Creek. Now, the crime scene investigator says that Libby had on Abby's clothes when the bodies were discovered. The crime scene investigator also says that a logical assumption is that Abby's clothes were taken off of her and then put on Libby. Now, yesterday, investigators took the stand and testified in graphic detail about the crime scene. Our 13 News legal analyst says Richard Allen's defense is now trying to poke holes in the prosecution's case. Yesterday, the state called 4 law enforcement witnesses to the stand, showing and describing to jurors 117 crime scene photos from the day the girls were found murdered, and the descriptions are graphic. The pictures show the injuries to both girls' throats, blood on both of the girls, and officers explain how they found sticks on and around the bodies. Detectives described the ground around them, saying it was saturated in blood. Jurors also got to see a photo of the bullet cartridge that investigators found near Libby. Prosecutors say they tested that unspent bullet casing and it matches a gun owned by Richard Allen. Each one of those witnesses was then cross-examined by the defense, challenging the evidence presented by the prosecution and how it was handled.
Another example would be the sticks that were found on one of the victims' bodies. They really highlighted that, one, that was a piece of evidence that was found, and two, that it wasn't originally collected. And they even got the witness to admit that they didn't collect it initially because they didn't think that it was pertinent, but someone eventually must have thought it was pertinent because they went back to get it later.
That's our 13 News legal expert, Katie Jackson-Lindsay, and she says the defense also entered several pieces of evidence which shows they are trying to build a case and drive a point home to the jury. And Richard Allen's defense team has sarcastically referred to the state's magic bullet. That will become a central focus of the trial, and we'll certainly hear more about that in the coming days. And one other important note from yesterday involves recordings from Libby's cell phone. That likely includes this audio and video. Listen. So you've heard this. We've had this for years. We've been playing it to you for years. The defense wants to set up guidelines about how that video can be shown and what investigators can say about it. They do not want it played on a loop like you're seeing here. And they do not want witnesses to identify the words and sounds on the recordings. The defense this is what they're saying, it is up to the jury to determine what words or sounds exist on the recordings. Now, the last officer on the stand yesterday will be back today for cross-examination, and the judge has cautioned jurors that the rest of the week will be difficult. Our Bob Siegel is in the courtroom right now, and we're going to have the latest on today's testimony on 13 News starting at 4. We'll see you then. And for the latest on the trial, be sure to watch our Delphi debrief, and it is on WTHR Plus. Bob Siegel, Emily Longnecker, and our legal expert, Katie Jackson-Lindsay, that you just saw. They're going to be breaking down all the major developments from the courtroom. This airs weeknights at 10 p.m. You can also stream the show on demand on WTHR Plus right now. It is a free Apple TV, Amazon Fire Stick, and Roku. You can find it in those places for free. All right, so the trial continues at this hour for an Indianapolis man accused of shooting and killing nearly all of his family. Raymond Childs III is accused of killing his parents, his 13-year-old sister, 18-year-old brother, and his brother's 19-year-old pregnant girlfriend. Childs was tried for the murders earlier this year, but the judge declared a mistrial over something that was said during witness testimony. Now, attorneys are back in court, combing through the details from that morning back in 2021. The prosecution says the shooting started upstairs and then moved to the basement. That's where his parents were. The prosecution also says Childs did not know it, but his younger brother was also in the basement.
He heard the brief struggle. He heard his father's last words, and he heard the gunshots.
The younger brother managed to escape the house, but was allegedly chased down the street and shot. The young boy told police It was his brother, Raymond Childs III, who did it. Childs III, his defense team says he was not at the house that night. They say he was at his girlfriend's house after being kicked out by his dad. They also say 2 guns were used, suggesting 2 shooters. They allege Childs III is in court because of a misguided investigation and misidentification. And we now know the name of a man hit and killed in a parking lot on Indy's west side from over the weekend. The coroner's office confirms 40-year-old Perry Banks died after someone drove their car into a group of people outside a bar near 465 and Washington Street. Well, the bar owner told police an argument unfolded inside but seemed to de-escalate. He says the next thing he knew, a car was driving through the parking lot trying to hit people. We're now working to find out if IMPD has identified a suspect or made an arrest here. And a driver accused of hitting and killing a woman in Indianapolis, then leaving the scene, is now facing felony charges. Court documents show that Latresa Hadrick told investigators she did not realize she hit a person until nearly 2 weeks after the crash. Police say Hadrick hit 30-year-old Alexandra Leal on September 18th. Leal's boyfriend and her 2 kids were with her that night. Surveillance video from a nearby business led investigators to Hadrick's car. She surrendered to police earlier this month. Hadrick is now charged with leaving the scene of an accident resulting in death, obstruction, and driving while suspended. Well, we are going to take a turn to weather because it is another sunny and warm one, but enjoy it while it lasts. Sean is timing out some chillier air that we need to be aware of.
Yeah, we got a couple of fronts. It's that time of year where one day you might have your heat on in your house. The next day you might have your AC on in the house. Today will probably be the latter as we're going to see temperatures approaching almost 80 degrees here. Plenty of sunshine this afternoon. Felicia, just a few mid-high level clouds, and that's it. Though we do have a front not far from us. We'll see if it can squeeze out a couple of sprinkles here later this evening. Most numbers at this hour already near 70 degrees. When you take what's on the map now, compare it to this time yesterday when we hit 77, we're about 4 degrees ahead of that pace. So I think a better shot of more areas hitting 80 this afternoon. Which is well above average, which is in the low 60s, courtesy of the sun and the south wind. We'll time out those fronts, and which morning we'll have the best chance of frost in the 7-day forecast.
All right, thank you so much, Sean. We'll check back in. And the newly established Indy Health District is here. What is it? Well, a 1,500-acre district that stretches the north side of downtown from about 10th Street to Crown Hill Cemetery. Reps from IU Health, Citizens Energy Group, Ivy Tech Community College, and the Children's Museum of Indianapolis were all in attendance, as well as leaders from the 5 surrounding neighborhood groups. Census data shows health and economic inequities in the area. The goal of this organization is to help address those issues.
Each of these institutions have committed not just resources, but their expertise, time, and genuine belief in the transformative potential of the Indy Health District.
Today we embark on an endeavor to make our city known for something else, for its commitment to health and well-being for all of our residents.
All right, guys.
The new Indy Health District sits in District 12, and the group will be hosting its first official community gathering in November.
I mean, they're here for a reason because, we're winning games, creating a lot of excitement. That adds to the excitement.
And adds to the excitement and more excitement. The new IU football coach seems to have found the magic recipe. His 13th ranked Hoosiers are now 7-0. Now the team's success is expanding beyond the field. So the wins put more eyes on the team, the city, and the shops that sell IU gear to fans. Jacob Englert works at Underground Printing, and he says this boom at Memorial Stadium is good for business as well as Bloomington.
The energy is definitely contagious, and I think that this is being picked up not only for the game, but for the town. Definitely bringing people into Bloomington.
And it's not just IU fans taking notice. ESPN's College Game Day with former IU head coach Lee Corso will be in town Saturday for the Hoosiers showdown with the Washington Huskies. But IU will be back without quarterback Curtis Rourke. ESPN is reporting today that he had surgery on his right thumb. The coaching staff tells us they expect him to return sometime in the regular season. Taven Jackson will start for IU. Kickoff is Saturday at noon.